under the neon glow of Seoul's business district, there lived a man whose reputation preceded him like winter frost. Park Joon-ho was his name, and control was his religion. At 35, he had built an empire of tech companies, each one a fortress protecting him from the weakness he had sworn to destroy: trust. When Joon-ho entered boardrooms, conversation stopped. When he spoke, executives leaned forward. But beneath his perfectly tailored suits lived a wounded man. 3 years ago, a woman had smiled at him over champagne, whispered promises in the dark, and disappeared the moment his company faced a temporary crisis. She had loved his success, not his soul. Never again. He had promised the city lights that night. Then Zara Okonkwo walked into his world, like sunrise breaking through storm clouds. She was a Nigerian software architect with gentle eyes and a spine of steel. When Joon-ho's company hired her consulting firm, she treated him like any other client, professionally, respectfully, but never with the reverence others showed. During their first meeting, while others nodded at his every word, Zara politely disagreed with his proposed algorithm. "This approach will work," she said calmly, "but this one will work better." She was right. That both impressed and terrified him. Over the following months, Joon-ho found himself inventing reasons to attend meetings where Zara would be present. He took her to restaurants where chandeliers cost more than cars. She thanked him warmly, but split the bill. He offered her a company car. She declined, preferring the subway where she could read. When business partners bowed deeply to him, Zara maintained the same courteous distance she showed everyone. "This woman is dangerous," Joon-ho thought. "She could destroy me." One sleepless night, fear won. Joon-ho called his childhood friend Kim Tae-sung, a charismatic venture capitalist known for his easy charm and adventurous spirit. They met at a private lounge where secrets felt safe. "I need your help," Joon-ho said, staring into his untouched whiskey. Tae-sung studied his friend's face. "You're falling for her. I need to know if she's real." "Joon-ho, don't do this. Please." The word cracked like glass. "Pretend to be an investor from Singapore. She doesn't know we're connected. Just see if she can be tempted." Tae-sung's silence was heavy with judgment. Finally, he sighed. "1 week. Then I'm telling you the truth, whether you like it or not." The test began on a rainy Thursday. Tae-sung accidentally encountered Zara at a technology conference in Busan. He introduced himself as an independent investor exploring AI ventures. His smile was warm, his interest genuine seeming. Zara was polite, professional, and kept their conversation focused on industry trends. "Perhaps we could discuss potential collaborations over dinner?" Tae-sung suggested. "I appreciate the offer," Zara replied, "but I'm here with my company. Let me give you my business card." Strike one. Tae-sung tried again at a networking event. He arrived with carefully chosen gifts, a first edition of a programming book Zara had mentioned loving, and an invitation to an exclusive tech summit in Tokyo. "These opportunities don't come often," he said. "You have remarkable vision. You deserve a partner who sees that." Zara accepted the book, but returned it the next day with a polite note. "Too generous. But thank you for thinking of me." Strike two. Growing desperate, Joon-ho pushed harder. "Tell her you can offer her a position away from Seoul. Away from me." Tae-sung's voice was cold. "She talks about you with respect. Joon-ho, she's not taking any bait. Stop this." One more try. The final confrontation happened at a quiet wine bar. Tae-sung was exhausted, his conscience heavy. He looked at Zara across the table and spoke with painful honesty. "What if someone could offer you everything Joon-ho hasn't?" he asked. "A fresh start. No complications." Zara set down her glass. Her eyes were clear, calm, knowing. "I don't need rescuing," she said softly, "and I don't play games with people's hearts." She stood, gathered her coat, and paused. "Tell Joon-ho that trust isn't proven through tests. It's built through time." Tae-sung felt his blood turn cold. "You knew?" From the second conversation, she replied, "You ask questions only someone researching me would ask. You knew details about my contract that aren't public." She smiled without malice. "Tell him I expected better." The revelation came in Joon-ho's office 3 days later. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the sprawling city, but Joon-ho only saw the documents Zara had placed on his glass desk. "I don't understand," he whispered. Zara sat across from him, perfectly composed. "Okon Tech Solutions. That's my company. The consulting firm you hired? I own it. The AI integration your company is building? I'm the primary stakeholder." Joon-ho's world tilted, but the paperwork said an anonymous international investor. That was me. She leaned forward. "You tested my loyalty, Joon-ho. I tested your character." Tae-sung stood near the window, silent witness to the unraveling. "You knew," Joon-ho repeated, "this entire time? I needed to know who you were when you thought you had power over me," Zara said. "Would you respect me, trust me, or would fear win?" The silence was suffocating. Joon-ho felt shame flood through him, hot and unfamiliar. "I was wrong." "Yes, you were." She stood to leave. Joon-ho's hand shot out, not grabbing, just reaching. "Please, let me explain." "Explain what? That you're afraid?" "I knew that already." Her voice softened. "I'm afraid too, Joon-ho, but I chose to trust you anyway." The door closed behind her. The sound echoed like a verdict. That night, Joon-ho sat alone in his penthouse apartment, surrounded by evidence of success that felt suddenly hollow. The city lights blurred. His phone remained silent. For the first time in years, money couldn't fix his problem. Tae-sung found him there at dawn, still dressed in yesterday's clothes. "Stop being a CEO," Tae-sung said. "Start being human." Joon-ho spent the following days in agony. Zara didn't answer calls. She didn't respond to messages. She didn't attend meetings. Her assistant politely explained she was unavailable. Meanwhile, Zara walked through Seoul's neighborhoods, the ancient temples of Bukchon, the markets of Gwangjang, the quiet paths along Cheonggyecheon Stream. She had fallen in love with the city's contrasts, its ability to honor the past while embracing the future. But her heart ached. "I wanted partnership," she whispered to the cherry blossoms beginning to bloom. "Not games." On the 7th day, Joon-ho did something unprecedented. He arrived at Zara's apartment without his driver, without security, without the armor of wealth. He wore simple jeans and a sweater. His eyes were red-rimmed. When she opened the door, he bowed deeply. "I was wrong. Not as your client. As a man." Zara studied him. "I don't need apologies. I need honesty. May I come in?" She stepped aside. They sat in her modest living room, the silence heavy with unsaid words. "I've been betrayed," Joon-ho began, voice cracking. "She took everything I offered and vanished when I needed her most. So I built walls. I turned into someone who trusts nothing but contracts and tests." "And what did your test teach you?" Zara asked. Zara's expression softened. "Love without trust is just fear wearing jewelry, Joon-ho. I know that now. Do you? Or will you test me again when your fear returns?" The question hung between them. Finally, Joon-ho spoke. "I choose to trust you. Every day, even when fear whispers. Words are easy. Then watch my actions." Zara said nothing, but she didn't ask him to leave. Days turned into weeks. Joon-ho changed. He consulted Zara as an equal partner in the AI project. He asked her opinion and actually listened. He stopped making decisions unilaterally. When reporters asked about their relationship, he simply said, "She's brilliant. I'm learning from her." Zara watched this transformation carefully. She noticed how he caught himself mid-command and turned it into a question. How he made space for her voice in meetings. How he waited for her decisions instead of assuming he knew best. One evening, as they reviewed code together in her apartment, she spoke. "Why did you really start this test?" Joon-ho paused. "Because you looked at me like I was just a person, not a bank account or a status symbol. Just me, and that terrified me more than any business risk." Rain began pattering against the windows. Zara reached across the table and touched his hand. "Thank you for telling the truth." But the world wasn't finished testing them. When news outlets discovered that Zara was a mysterious investor behind multiple tech ventures, everything shifted. Media descended. Investors called constantly. People who had ignored her now sought meetings. The balance of power visibly changed. And with visibility came danger. Late one evening, as Zara left a board meeting, she noticed a black sedan following her. She maintained her pace, years of navigating Lagos's complex streets having taught her awareness. The car matched her movements too precisely. Before panic could set in, a familiar silver vehicle pulled in front of her. Joon-ho stepped out, positioning himself between Zara and the threat. "Get in," he said firmly, but his hand was gentle on her elbow. She looked at him, really looked, and saw not pride or possessiveness, but genuine concern. She got in. That night, in the safety of his apartment, Joon-ho spoke raw truth. "I will never doubt you again. No tests, no games, just us." Zara met his eyes. "I don't want protection because I'm valuable. I want trust because I'm honest." "You have it," he promised, "even if it costs me everything." She felt the truth in his words. This was different. This was real. The following months transformed them both. They worked as partners, each respecting the other's expertise. They walked Seoul streets hand in hand, unbothered by stares or whispers. They made decisions together, argued with respect, and forgave quickly. Tae-sung visited one afternoon, grinning. "Love changed you, Hyung." Joon-ho smiled back. "Trust did." On a spring morning, Joon-ho took Zara to a small traditional house in the countryside, surrounded by blooming cherry trees. "My grandmother raised me here," he said. "She taught me that trust is built in quiet moments, not grand gestures." They drank tea from clay cups. They talked about their fears, their dreams, the scars they carried. No performance. No walls. "I don't want power over you," Joon-ho said. "I want partnership." Zara squeezed his hand. "And I don't want to constantly prove my worth. I want to be chosen. I choose you. Every day." Their relationship grew strong, not loud, but deep. They corrected each other with kindness. They challenged each other with respect. Trust became their foundation. 6 months later, Joon-ho made a decision that shocked Seoul's business community. He restructured his company's leadership into a collective board, stepping back from autocratic control. "I built an empire on fear," he announced. "I want to build a legacy on trust." On a quiet evening under stars, on the porch of that traditional house, Joon-ho knelt before Zara. No cameras, no audience, just truth. "I once tested you," he said. "Let me spend my life proving I've learned better." Zara's eyes filled with tears. "Yes." They married quietly, surrounded by people who mattered. Tae-sung, Zara's siblings who flew from Lagos, friends who had watched them grow. The ceremony blended Nigerian and Korean traditions, honoring both their roots. As they stood together, Joon-ho whispered, "Thank you for staying." Zara smiled, "Thank you for changing." They built companies that prioritized people over profit. They mentored young entrepreneurs. They shared their power instead of hoarding it. They created scholarships for African students studying in Korea and Korean students studying in Africa. Years later, on their anniversary, they returned to the traditional house. Cherry blossoms fell like snow around them. "I almost lost everything because of fear," Joon-ho said. Zara leaned against him. "And I almost walked away because of pride." We both learned. They had become something rare. Two strong people who chose to be stronger together. Not perfect, but real. Not without conflict, but without cruelty. Not proving anything to anyone, but building something lasting. In the end, Park Joon-ho learned that love isn't proven through tests. Loyalty isn't demanded. It's earned. And queens don't need crowns. They need partners willing to grow. The cold CEO and the brilliant entrepreneur didn't just fall in love. They grew into it, slowly and deliberately, building trust like architects build foundations, carefully, strongly, with patience and respect. And the table where they sat, they built it together, piece by piece, with equal hands and open hearts.